Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. I'm back at it again, man. Listen, salute and respect to everybody. Had some technical difficulties on the last show. Oh my goodness, I'm not even gonna. You know who it was. Do I even need to say? All right, listen. But we got it together. We're back again. We are here to talk about the New York Jets beating the Bears. All right, 31-10. We're going to have a discussion about that. We're also going to be discussing the emergence of Mike White. Boy, oh boy, has he been playing well, right? Played well in the last game, looked good. We're hoping to see him put together another, solid game as well. We're going to be talking about the upcoming game against the Vikings. We're going to be discussing it all. Even Elijah Moore getting involved in the offense. Who'd have thunk it, okay? Who'd have thunk it, baby? We got things rolling. So, listen, let me go ahead and get into the show. I am the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. Listen, your boy's on iTunes, all right? For those of you that do not know, your boy is on iTunes, okay? Go on iTunes, search The Long Beach Joe Show, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, and leave me a 5-star rating, okay? Let your boy know what you think about what I'm doing here. And I want to thank everybody that does that. Leave me some feedback, leave me some comments on there. Let me know how you feel. I'm also on Twitter as well, at YoungJ000, okay? At YoungJ000 is my personal page. You can follow the show at The Long Beach Joe, at The Long Beach Joe. All right, go ahead and follow you right back. We'll go back and forth. And for those of you that do not know, we also live stream the show as well, okay? We live stream the show for those of you that don't know. Also put up content as well. Go on over to YouTube, all right? Type in Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, okay? Subscribe, hit that notification bell so when I post content, y'all be in the know. You know, a lot of people don't know that we live stream this show, baby, all right? Listen, a lot of people that look at your boy, see your boy on live stream, they say, Joe, you're looking good, man. I'm not cocky. I'm not arrogant. You know, I say thanks. You know what I'm saying? So they say, hey, we watch the show. We listen to the show as well. We like watching it. And also when you come into YouTube to get that live show experience, you get to hit up the Savages. You get to meet the Savages as well. Venom G salutes you, everybody in the chat, all the Savages in there. So we're going to get rolling. We're going to get discussing this Jets-Bears, man. What a win for the Jets. 31-10, beat the Bears. And let me tell you something. There was a lot of questions about Mike White, right, starting this game. We just benched Zach Wilson. We moved on from him. A lot of people had questions about what Mike White was going to be able to do. Came in there and looked really good. 22 of 28, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was just efficient. This guy got the ball out of his hands quick. He made, very good decisions with the football. Didn't take any kind of crazy risk, nothing like that. Was just solid, and he made everything look so easy. That's the great thing about Mike White. He makes this offense function in the way that it's supposed to. I tell people all the time, I told people when we got Sulla in the building, all right, this is one of the most boring, successful offenses that the NFL has. I'm telling you, I watched the Niners. We're running the same Shanahan scheme. Boring success. They run the football efficiently. They ask their quarterback to do very little, right? Safe throws, hit guys in space, and you'll be good to go. Don't do something stupid with the football. Thumbs up, you'll be all right here. The Niners had success with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he wasn't even that good. And here we are. We have Mike White, a guy that's putting things together, and it looks good. The offense looks really good under him. Our first drive, we were able to get a score. We saw him really dish it to a lot of different wide receivers from Wilson, Conklin, hit Bam Knight as well for 16 yards. We'll discuss Bam Knight's contribution in this game as well. He came up big here too. He hit Garrett Wilson for a touchdown, put us up 7-0 early. Then you saw Trevor Siemian come out and be able to kind of do his thing. Now, the New York Jets defense struggled a little bit early in this game, all right? I'm going to keep it real with you. It was a little sleepy. Not the, normal Jets come out, completely clamp you down defense early like we usually see. But Trevor Siemian was able to find Montgomery for 26 yards. They were able to get a field goal out of that drive as well. So ended 7-3 on their first drive, on their first scoring drive. Then their next scoring drive, right after the Jets punted, you saw Trevor Siemian find Claypool for 31 yards. Claypool had 2 catches for 51 yards on the day. He also found Pringle for a TD as well. That put the Bears up 10-7. But then you saw Mike White be able to come back and rebound, right? Be able to continue to keep the Jets' offense rolling. Mike White found Garrett Wilson for a 54-yard touchdown. Garrett Wilson had a big day, man, a big day against the Bears. 5 catches, 95 yards. So with that 54-yard TD, that put the Jets up 14-10. Then before the half, the Bears punted, and Mike White was able to, string together a drive. He finds Denzel Mims for 11 yards and sets up Zerline for a 57-yard field goal in the rain, and Zerline hit it. Zerline, that field goal looked good, and it looked like he could have hit it from longer than 57. That ball was still in the air and straight. That put the Jets up 17-10 going into the half. Now, when you look at the way that Mike White was wheeling and dealing within this offense, man, listen, at the half, he was 16 of 20, 235 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, and he had hit 10 different receivers. That's efficiency, ladies and gentlemen. Efficiency. This guy's just finding guys open. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter. Look, you're open, getting the ball out of my hands. I don't want no trouble. All right, he's not worried about the rush. He's making quick decisions. He's deciphering the defense and making it happen. That's something that Zach Wilson struggled with. Mike White is not holding on to this ball very long at all. Then we get to the second half, and that's where the Jets really just rolled, man. The Jets defense made adjustments. We saw John Franklin Myers come out in the second half, get a sack. That really got things rolling early. Bam Knight and Ty Johnson, man, were just ripping off runs, 7, 8-yard runs back-to-back. Bam Knight had 14 carries for 69 yards in this game. We also saw, Mike White hit Elijah Moore for a 22-yard TD as well. Elijah Moore, 2 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Remember that guy? He was the guy that, wanted to get out of here because he wasn't part of the offense. Anybody remember him? He had a big day as well. He looked good. That put the Jets up 24-10. Ty Johnson also had a 32-yard touchdown run as well. Ty Johnson, 5 carries, 62 yards, 1 touchdown. Him and Bam Knight together looked phenomenal in this game. Now, keep in mind, Michael Carter dealing with an ankle injury, right? He was, doing his thing on the sidelines. He's dealing with the ankle injury, which we found out as well after the game as well. So things are looking kind of spotty for him. We'll see if he's going to be able to play in the upcoming game. Sulla actually sat James Robinson down. He was inactive for the game. Sulla came out after the game as well and talked about how he felt like they left a lot of meat on the bone as far as the running game. So he decided to go with Bam Knight and Ty Johnson for this game to see how they would work the situation as far as the ground game. And he calls the running back situation a day-to-day situation. Now, a lot of people looked at that and were like, man, what are they doing? I told people this as well. When you look at the San Francisco 49ers and the way they run that offense and how they run the running game, right, they have a bunch of Mariota backs that you don't even know. They run with a ton of guys. I remember, I think it was a season ago or 2 seasons ago, they had an undrafted rookie free agent lead them in rushing. They're always near the top of the league in running as well. They just put guys in there and have them run within the system, and it works. They got 3 to 4 guys that they just rotate constantly. They don't always have a feature guy, and it works there, and they make it happen. So this, to me, wasn't like a huge surprise, especially, again, Sulla making that decision, the offensive staff making that decision. They're going to keep going with different guys because the running system, the scheme here, will allow you to do that. Then, again, we saw the Jets defense really clamp down as well after that Johnson 32-yard touchdown. We did miss the 53-yard field goal, but Mosley got a big interception to really put things away, and the Jets took it 31-10. We looked really good in that game, especially coming out in that second half, making the adjustments. The offense was alive, ladies and gentlemen. It's alive. Mike White is at the helm. Now, I know there was a lot of questions, and we'll get to to the lines in just a second. Believe me, I want to have this conversation with you folks. And, again, apologize for the technical difficulties, okay? Y'all know where it came from. I ain't got to keep, saying nothing, all right? But, we'll come to you guys in just a second. Now, after the game, Sulla was questioned about Mike White and what he was going to do going forward. Had Mike White won the quarterback position? Did he win it? He didn't speak on it. He kind of danced around it, declined to talk about it, but he did say this. The quarterback position is day-to-day. He doesn't want to get into hypotheticals. He's not going to play that game. I'll tell you like this. I understand that Coach Sulla is the, head coach of the New York Jets. I understand that he has to keep his nose clean, has to say everything, right? Say everything right. The New York media will overplay things. We all understand that. But let me tell you something. And I'm a Zach Wilson guy. Everyone knows that. I love him. I think he can be the future guy. He's made mistakes. He hasn't played well. I'll be the first to tell you I hold him accountable. But if Mike White continues to play like this, if Mike White continues to go out there and be efficient, if Mike White continues to have the offense rolling and have guys like Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, all these other guys as well, these young guys we got here that we want to see what they have, if he continues to go out there and these guys continue to shine like this, it is going to be extremely hard to sit this guy down. And I know that they've come out and said that they want to put Zach Wilson on the field at some point this year. They want to see what he's got. They call this a reset. But if Mike White keep playing like this, it's going to be a reset, all right? Because they're going to reset your ass straight to that bench, okay, baby? I ain't going to reset you to that bench. I'm going to keep it real, all right? It's going to be tough for them to go away from Mike White if he continues to play like this. So we're going to discuss that. We're also going to be discussing the upcoming game against the Vikings as well. That team's 9-2. They're phenomenal. We're going to be discussing that too. And also there's some rumors swirling, okay, about a senator, Joe Adebu. I believe that's his name. He wants the Jets, he wants the Jets to come back to New York. He's talking about wanting to see a stadium built in Willand Point, Queens, that seats 70,000 to 80,000. Now, I'm a West Coast guy. I don't know much about, New York and the Queens area. I got a little family around there, But let me know, for those of you that live around that area or, living in that East Coast, I want to talk to you folks as well tonight. How do you folks feel about that? If the Jets do end up in Queens, now again, this is just starting to talk heat. This is just starting to swirl up. If the Jets do end up with a stadium in Queens, would you be interested in continuing to go consistently to Jets games for that? I know a lot of people that want to get away from MetLife. I know that. Me, myself, I go to MetLife. Y'all know at least once a year I try to. Boy, that New Jersey transit is terrible. Can you fix the train system for the love of goodness? All right. Also, again, the New York Jets dealing with injuries. Michael Carter, low ankle sprain. There's a lot of talk about him being unlikely to play against the Vikings. Also, Odebushi as well, dealing with a groin injury. Ashton Davis has a hamstring injury. So those two guys are questionable. The Jets also signed Jonathan Ward to the practice squad, dealing with the situation with Michael Carter. And Sheldon Rankins is back at practice. Light practice, though. So we'll see exactly when he's going to be able to get out there on the field with the New York Jets full time. So we'll see. But again, light practice for Sheldon Rankins. Good to see him on the field. He did talk about how he that he was going to come back earlier from the injury than a lot of people thought. So we're going to be discussing, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We live, baby. We live, all right? Wherever you're watching me from, please give the stream a thumbs up. Also share the stream with your friends and your family, okay? Subscribe if you have not subscribed. I don't know why you haven't subscribed yet. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. If you want to give to the stream, the super chat's there. All right, the Cash App is also at the bottom of the stream as well for anyone that wants to give. Anything you give to the platform is greatly appreciated. So we're going to get to these lines again. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We'll get to all the callers. Be patient. We're going to come to everybody. First, we're going to come to my guy, Jason. Jason, I'm coming to you first. Salutes to you, Jason. I want to thank you for calling in tonight, man. I'm glad to be able to speak with you. I apologize about the technical difficulties. Salutes Venom G's, he knows. So, Jason, give me your thoughts on this Jets win, 38-10 over the Bears. How you feel about Mike White's performance?
Well, first thing I want to say is I can actually hear you this time. Yay for that. And
Salutes. Salutes, man. Salutes. Thank you again for calling in.
Dude, Zach Wilson must have done something to try to stop us from talking, man, because I guarantee you, man, he was not happy seeing Michael White lighting it up against the Chicago Bears, man. Not only that, though, Mike White, dude, he showed development, man. People were saying, nagging on him, saying, oh, he was just a track down person, blah, blah, blah. Mike White just showed, he made some throws that wasn't track down, and he made some throws that made you go, oh, my goodness. It's amazing. I'm happy, dude. I'm excited, dude. I can't wait. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he looks phenomenal. Now, my question for you, Jason, is if Mike White continues to have this type of success offensively, do you think we'll be able to put Zach Wilson on the field at any point? I mean, if Mike White continues to come out and have the offense looking solid, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, young guys again lighten up like Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, in your mind, doesn't that just absolutely kind of take away the idea of putting Zach Wilson back out on this field as New York Jets starting quarterback?
Well, yeah, and if he does this against the Vikings and Bills, there's no way you can go out there and say, oh yeah, Zach's coming back. Well, not only that, even if somehow if Mike White doesn't do well, if Zach isn't ready, that Star ain't gonna put him out there. He said it himself. He's going to put the kid out there when he thinks the kid's ready, when he's able to handle it. So even if Mike White doesn't do good, we may, instead of seeing Zach, we may see Flacco. And it's only when, it could be this year, it could be next year, we don't know. It's only when Sarah feels like he's ready to be able to move, to be able to play in the offense.
Yeah, that's what I hear you. I hear you, man. You're bringing some fire takes. Now, what are your thoughts about Bam Knight and Ty Johnson being the Jets' two leading rushers against the Bears? I mean, they had a big day for us on the ground.
Yeah, man, dude. They came out, dude, and they were amazing, dude. Especially John Johnson, that touchdown one, man. Hopefully they can continue this, man. But this just shows how great the Joe Douglas and Sal is able to groom running backs and make them, even when we go down to a 4th, 5th string running backs, they could still play and could still be amazing, dude. Kudos to our head coach and kudos to our GM that could bring talent even if it's a 4th, 5th string and still can ball out. Yeah.
You talking facts. They were running like crazy. I was looking at, again, Bam Knight was a guy that we were all excited about, especially in the preseason. And we were like, man, this guy, and then, again, with the roster situation, and then he was kind of put off, and then we saw, again, where that's going forward with Ty Johnson, who was a shocker that was still on the active roster. A lot of people didn't see him making the roster, but he was able to, and then you saw, again, Breece Hall, who got injured. Michael Carter, we thought we were going forward with him. But Bam came in. He looks like a fresh pair of legs, and to me it was shocking to see Ty Johnson run the way that he was, because Ty has been the kind of guy that's been up and down here, with us for the running game. So I thought that it looked really good. Now, my final question for you, man, we got a Vikings game coming up. Man, give me your thoughts about that situation. Do you see Mike White being able to put together back-to-back solid games? What are your expectations for him in this upcoming game against the Vikings?
Well, first things first, man, I'm excited to see, he gets to face a good team. So all those haters that wanted to say, oh, it's against the Bills, can't say anything if he does well this game. But it's gonna be a fun game, dude. I can't wait for the Sauce versus Jefferson at times. I don't think it's gonna happen that much because they're gonna try to put Reed against Jefferson so that they can have like a better matchup wise. But it's gonna be a great game, and I think my White's going against like the worst passing defense. So I'm expecting him to not pull up the same stats as he did, but probably like 250, 260 out there, there's CBs, they'll hurt in the CBs area. I think our wide receiver can take advantage of that, and Mike White can get them the ball. So it's gonna be a great game, dude, and I can't wait.
Give me your final score prediction for the game coming up against the Vikings, Jets Vikings. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think this game ends up?
Oh, so I think this game's gonna be a shootout, and I think Jets win. Let's see, 34-31 Jets.
Ooh, 34-30. Listen, Jason, I want to thank you for calling in, man. I got to slide off. You have yourself a good night, all right?
You too as well. Jeff, Victory Monday. Let's go.
Salute. Let's go. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Again, when you call in, please be patient. We'll get to everybody. Also, make sure when you call in, your phone's good. Please do not call me from a phone that you found in the back of a Kmart dumpster. All right? Call me from a good line so I can be able to hear you. I want my audience to hear you. I want to be able to hear you as well. And also when you call in, new callers, please know I do not allow profanity on my show. Don't call in cursing like crazy, all right? I'll get you out of here fast. I'm talking fast. Faster than the New Jersey Transit can send you on a wrong train to MetLife. Come on. Can somebody figure out how to put a train that will take you to Secaucus correctly? How many times am I going to get told to go to the wrong place by one of the attendants in the New Jersey Transit? How many times? Why? Why does that constantly happen to me? How come every time I want to go to the game, a simple train that could go from one place to another gets shut down? I got to go through 5 trains, all right? I got to go all the way to New York to come all the way back to the stadium because I'm getting told to go to the wrong places. I hope they do put the Jets in Queens. Hopefully it's easier, all right? We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Please give the stream a thumbs up as well. Next, I'm going to my guy, Ted. Ted, I'm coming directly to you. For those of you that do not know, Ted, this man is a savage. He's a damn savage. Ted, salutes.
What's up, Joe?
With you this evening. What's up, man? Listen.
What's up?
Bears, Jets, 31-10, Mike White coming out, absolutely dialing things up. How do you feel about that performance, man?
Spoke about it in your earlier show, Joe. Good evening. Glad your technical issues are behind you. I thought my Sesame Street phone was on the blink. When I called because didn't hear much on the receiving end.
Yeah, man. It's them people. Go ahead. Them people was tripping. Go ahead.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
So Joe, just based on Mike White's just short career, and you could just see, and based on last year's Cincinnati game, he was ready to play. He's ready to play despite the weather. Okay, despite the poor conditions, the guy had a tremendous game and did what he had to do. And the team played with confidence. You could see the energy that the other players play with him. And even the defense. I did see, and you want to talk about defense, giving the defense a breather. Because Zach Wilson, every time Zach Wilson would be 3 and out, which would be most of his drives, especially against the Patriots, the defense would be on the field. I don't know what the time of possessions were in some of these, but you could just see the energy level of the team just rise up for him and just, I mean, let's go with him as long as possible. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm. Now, I hear you there, Ted, and I understand. Listen, Mike White played well. Things look good. We saw him really show command of the offense. But I want to play devil's advocate for a second with you, right? Mm-hmm. What do you say to people that believe, listen, Zach Wilson was the guy we took second overall. Young guy. He's the future. He must see the field again simply because we took him that high. That is too much of an investment to have sitting on the bench. We need to allow him, he sat down for, a game. Yeah, he got a reset. But Mike White's not the future. Zach Wilson is the future, and he needs to be out there. What do you say to that? What do you say to people that believe that?
I can't believe in that, Joe, because I have a feeling, well, it's my speculation, that there's only so much you can coach a player, and then the player's going to have to take over and master his craft, especially a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to blame a lot of his issues with his footwork and his maybe his in-game management on. I know he's got to play more, but I really believe the footwork is on Zach. Maybe he's not preparing enough. Maybe he's not performing. I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes, but I remember there was a player earlier in the year, and I was going to look this up before I called you yesterday, who said that Mike White throws a more catchable ball or something to that effect, or more
Garrett
catchable
Wilson.
ball. It was Garrett. Okay.
No, well, I think he was talking about Joe Flacco. He said Joe
Flacco.
Okay.
I thought it was White.
I think he
you
was
might
talking
be
about
right.
Joe Flacco.
Okay, you might be right. But there comes a point,
I'll
Joe. If we Joe,
go ahead.
Joe, let me say this real quick. If we had three wins, I would probably say yes. But we're contending for possibly the division title. Okay,
yeah.
And we have a stacked defense. We have a lot of talent on offense too. Obviously, we just the quarterback away, as far as I can see. If we were a 3-win team, maybe you roll with Zach. Sort of like what you would do with Justin Fields. You want to get him to play, except Justin Fields probably runs a little too much for his own good right now because he's already hurt. The fact that we're in a wild card hunt, the fact that we're in a division, race, you have to go with Mike right now. And I'm interested in seeing the Dolphins and the 49ers because I don't know if the Dolphins can even handle a physical team like the Niners. I would love to. I'm very fascinated by that game. Very fascinated.
Well, here's the thing.
Go ahead,
I think here's the thing. I think that's interested when you talk about, and I've had discussions with people that say that as well. Listen, Zach Wilson's the future, so on and so forth, and I understand that completely. Again, I'm a Zach guy. I'm not going to run away from that take. I always, keep it straight. Everybody knows that. I'm very realistic. But when you're playing the way that he was playing, and then you're saying the things that he was saying as well, when you have a guy that's able to step up the way that Mike White has stepped up and played as well, if he continues to play like this, you can't look at this situation and go, okay, yeah, we've invested, the second pick in Zach Wilson, but guess what? We've also invested a first-round pick in Garrett Wilson. We've also invested a high second-round pick in Elijah Moore. We've also invested a ton of money in the offensive line with Laken Tomlinson. We also invested in the tight end position with C.J. Uzomah and Conklin. We also invested a first-rounder in Jermaine Johnson, and we invested a ton of money with Carl Lawson and so on and so forth. Whitehead. We brought all these guys. Sauce is a high first-round pick as well. If you allow your quarterback to go out there and just be reckless with the football and throw things away, he's running backwards against teams, spinning around like a ballerina, throwing interceptions, forcing balls where they don't belong, and then he's doubling down in pressers like he did against when we played against the Patriots the first time, saying I don't want to play boring football. And in that game, he ran out and threw 3 interceptions. Then you're completely wasting the rest of your investment as well. What about the other players? What about the other guys that are going out there busting their behinds week in and week out? Elijah Moore has not been a factor in the offense pretty much all damn season. Implement Mike White, you see a touchdown. You see him have, what do you have, 2 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown in this game. Looked phenomenal. He had a 42-yard catch that was unbelievable because a guy is getting the ball out of his hands. You not only are you throwing your investment away, right? But you're also wasting a chance to really push and go forward because I keep it real. I don't want to get too far ahead, but this looks like a Super Bowl defense. This to me looks like the best defense in the league. I'm not lying. We look like the best defense in the league, and we're built, and we look, and we play a lot like the 2009 team that went to the AFC Championship. We don't have time to waste that. This is year 2, and I'm all about growing and maturing. I get that. But when you're playing like that and then you're doubling down and then you got a guy that's willing to step in and play better, it's the NFL. You got to pick it up. This is a league about competition. We talk about it constantly. Competition at every position. You play like that, you lose your spot. I don't give a damn if you got picked high in the first or in the fifth. You got beat out. So we'll see if they implement Zach Wilson back out on the field at some point. But if Mike White continues to play like this, it's going to be tough to pull him. And I'm playing devil's advocate here, but it's going to be tough. I understand wanting to see Wilson back out on that field, but I'm telling you, Mike White he's putting things together, and we'll see. Now, that leads me to my next question for you, Ted, because we got an upcoming game here against these Vikings, man. And I look at this Vikings pass rush, it's serious business. Give me your thoughts on us facing Zardarius Smith, Hunter, man, with our offensive line. Are you confident they will be able to properly protect Mike White?
Joe, what you said before earlier about the reason why Mike White is starting was perfect. All the reasons you stated previously. You couldn't have said it more perfectly myself. I'm not afraid of Minnesota's defense. Look what Mac Jones just did. Mac Jones just lit him up. And Mac Jones is a below-average quarterback with below-average receivers. And they just lit them up. I don't have any issue. I mean, I agree with the previous caller. It's going to be a shootout. I don't think we can hold them down the whole game. We're going to have to come out and be aggressive. And, well, I'll take one step back. Mike White has to do Mike White things. If he does what he did against the Bears, I think we'll be fine with our defense. We can hold Minnesota down a little bit, just a little. But that defense doesn't scare me at all. That defense doesn't scare me at all.
Okay.
The way Mike White can get out, maybe the crowd noise a little, but Mike White can get out, do a little running game, do short passes like he did, get the ball out of his hands quick. I have no fear of that defense.
Okay. Now, give me your final score, man. Give me your final score prediction. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think it ends up?
I have no doubt that the Jets can definitely win this game. I think it's going to be, like the previous caller said, probably like a maybe 31-23, a little bit ugly score. Jets, 100%.
Okay. Listen, Ted, I want to thank you for calling in, man. It's phenomenal speaking to you. I got to slide off. The line's just hot. You have yourself a good night, my friend.
Joe. You too, Joe.
All right.
Have a good one, sir.
Absolutely. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Please be patient. Believe me, we will get to everyone tonight. It's a hot night. Next, I'm going to my guy, Val. I think this is Val. Val, is this you? Is this you on the line, Val? Listen, hold on. For those of you that do not know, Val, that boy is savage, man. That boy is savage. Damn.
Yes, sir, man.
You see how they try, Val, you see how they try to hold me down, but I just keep fighting on back. You see how they try to hold me down, Val?
The Blog Talk couldn't hold the heat, man. It was just too hot. It was too hot. We scored too much. They already knew the phone was going to be a little too hot, man.
You already know what time it is. Listen, Val.
Here we go.
Listen, let's get to it, Val. All right, let's get to it. Mike White, phenomenal game against the Bears, 31-10. When you watch him, man, what do you see him do that you think kind of creates this success? What does he do differently that Zach Wilson can't do? Why is the offense so functional under him?
Man, he can make easy throws. That's number one. Number two, he actually looks around the field. He doesn't just aim at he doesn't just look at one person particular, one wide receiver. He actually scans the field and sees exactly who's open, and he actually, has a little bit more accuracy to throw that ball in between windows, as you've seen. So he just really showed experience out there. So that's exactly what we needed. That's what I seen.
Yeah. I mean, he's like you said, he's getting the ball out of his hands quickly. He's putting things together. He's handling business, man. He's making quick decisions. Now, when you look at some of the throws he was able to make, like some of the guys that, to me, that really turned things up was Garrett Wilson, man. What were your thoughts about his performance? 5 catches, 95 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns on the day. How did you feel about that guy stepping up and playing as well as he did?
Listen, man. Listen, we got to get the guy the ball, and I'm glad we got the quarterback. Like I said, man. Well, we're gonna get to that, but we had to get him the ball, and we seen the talent. He got drafted at the same spot that he was supposed to be drafted at because this kid has talent. I'm just amazed that the rookies is out here looking like superstars so far, and this is very important to show you. Thank you to Jamal Adams of, helping us get these picks and stuff like that because, man, we are getting some glorious wins now. The cloud is going away and the light is starting to shine. So, we definitely,
guys,
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, listen, these guys are stepping up and playing well. Garrett Wilson has just been phenomenal, pretty much all season. Like, we've seen him really step up, but man, that game yesterday when he was just breaking out and handling his business, we even saw Elijah Moore become a part of the offense once again, right? 2 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown.
Man.
Like, whoa, bro.
The whole stadium was just happy to see Elijah Moore get the ball and score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Everybody felt how he felt, So it's just like, we was all on him for, demanding a trade. But he was the person that really started that talk about the quarterback position because it was kind of ridiculous. This guy has a lot of talent, and he hasn't got the ball. So it's just like, man, he's been putting in a lot of work in the offseason to get ready for the season, and you're not getting the ball. So it's just like, it's very frustrating, especially with a guy with that talent. And you've seen this past Sunday, once you get him the ball, he can even run for more yards. So, it's just like I'm happy. I'm very happy of how everything is going. And I'm really happy that everybody's echoing, it's not just me that was saying it, but it's just like, we needed that change and we needed that spark, and we're finally getting that spark. And, yes, it was against the Bears, but, hey, we would have probably been in the dogfight with the other quarterback. We would have probably been going back and forth. So, we would probably been putting the ball a whole bunch of times, but we actually scored on the first drive. That's what I've been always echoing. We needed to score in the first quarter. We have to be aggressive. So, and we're seeing that. So I'm happy, man.
Yeah. So now moving on to this upcoming game against the Vikings, Val, my question for you.
Yes, sir.
Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen going to be matched up with Sauce and Reed. Are you excited about watching that battle, man? What are your thoughts on it?
Man, that is prime time TV. We got the arguably number 1 cornerback, rookie, superstar in the making, hopefully, if everything plans out, against arguably the best wide receiver in the league. So this is going to be a very, very interesting game, and I can't even lie. I've been waiting for this game all week, and then, the week is almost done, but, I definitely can't wait. But, man, it's going to be a very good game, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but it's going to test to see how the defense tackles, because we have to tackle. We've been missing a few tackles in these few games that we've been seeing. We're kind of getting a little shaky with the tackles, but we got to, close it in and stuff like that, because we got Cooks as well, too. They got a good running back.
Yep.
They got Dalvin Cooks, and they got a person that could pass the ball, in Kirk Cousins. We don't know what type of Kirk Cousins we're going to get. Yeah, we don't know if he's going to be red hot or he's going to be the below average quarterback. So, so let's see.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to talk about this, throughout the show as well. But T.J. Hockenson as well. Listen, a lot of people sleeping. T.J. Hawkinson's a really good tight end, and he'll route you up. And he just got there, and he's really picked up things quickly. Let me tell you something. That guy's a weapon. He can stay healthy. Boy, he'll put it to you. But listen, Val, give me your final score prediction, man. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think this game ends up?
Whew. All right, so I'm probably going. I'm gonna go probably 30, 32. 30, I'm gonna go 31-24. 31-24. I feel like this is gonna be a high scoring game.
31-24. Jets.
I feel like of course, yes, Jets. Let's go.
Oh. Okay. I mean,
yes, indeed.
Yeah, of course. Like, what else? Where is I going? Listen, pal, I want to thank you for calling in, man. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. I got to slide off. We got callers.
Oh,
thank you again for
sure.
calling in, man.
One thing, everybody, do not curse on the lines, because Joe will get you out of here as fast as Zach Wilson got benched. All right, I'm out of here.
Oh. Get out of here. Val, y'all see how Val hits you and then slide off? Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Again, when you call in, please be patient. We'll get to everybody. Lines are hot. Salutes to everybody. And, again, thank everybody for calling in. We're going to keep on going. Next, I'm going to my guy, Rusty. Rusty, we're coming directly to you. Salutes to you, Rusty. For those of you that do not know Rusty, he's a he's a savage, man. Salutes to you, Rusty. Listen, Jets beat the Bears 31-10. What do you say to people that think, listen, Mike White, his performance was nice, but Zach Wilson's the number 2 pick. We need to see him out on the field as soon as possible. What are your thoughts about that, man?
Salutes, Joe. Salutes, fellow savages. And yeah, it was a thank you, bud. And it was a win that we should have had. And it was a little jumpy at first, but then we convinced it, so that was good. And it was good that C.J. Mosley held it down in that end zone. But when it comes to Zach, good old Zachy Poo, I mean, I was for it, and then of course didn't know the locker room, what was going on in the back room, the backgrounds and stuff. And then he says that about our butcher block defense. So, yeah, he's on that list, man, He made that list. And so I just see him as a potential, Jamalish type of trade if somebody bites,
Wow.
I mean,
Rusty.
yeah.
You ready to
I'm
move
for
on
it,
from
man.
him already? Wow.
If it consists of, because, I've seen it a lot. I can't say that I've seen it all because, not that old as, some of us fellow Jet fans, and that's in a good way. But,
yeah.
I mean, I'm team first. I've seen, like, those greedy quarterbacks with the Neil O'Donnell types and the other guys, and then getting injured with Ken O'Brien when it was promising, and then especially getting injured with Pennington. So, I mean, we had our future quarterback franchise with that guy, but then the injury things. So I am team first, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, and I get that. But for you, what do you think it would take for the coaching staff to put Zach Wilson out there? Like, does it take 2 bad games from Mike White? Does it take 3? I mean, if you were the Jets coaching staff, let's say if you were Sulla, how many bad games would it take for you to say, okay, we're going back to Zach, now we sit Mike White? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? What is it?
3. But I don't know if I'd go back to – yeah, I don't know if I'd go back to Zachy, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'd honestly, because I compare it like this, I want to see what Shreveler should be at second string, and that's nothing bad to Flacco, but he's a statue.
Okay.
I understand the whole thing with Shreveler. Hasn't really played and played against thirds. I understand that, but if you can just give him nibbles, and treat him like a second stringer, why not? Look at what Mike White did. And I'm not saying that everybody can do that, but I'm happy with Mike White, and if it works, it works. Don't let it go, and don't do like what Buffalo did and pull Flutie and then put that guy back in. That's how I see this. If Mike White's like our Doug Flutie to when the Buffalo Bills had him and, should have kept him in and then took him out during the playoff game and then that against Tennessee and then that crazy ending happened, the miracle or whatever, that's how I see it. So keep him. That's how I feel.
All right.
Keep Mike White.
MFW,
and I ain't cursing, but I did it subliminally. Yes, let's go MFW.
Okay, listen, I hear you. I'm just asking the questions here. I want to know.
Yeah.
For me, I look at the situation, and I'm thinking if Mike White, again, can put together a string of games, his leash might get longer and longer. I mean, last time, he played bad against Buffalo pretty much. I think he got injured against the Colts. Then he played bad against Buffalo and ended up, being gone because, again, but at that time, again, Zach Wilson was dealing with an injury and came back. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen in the future. Now, we got the Vikings coming up, Rusty. You look at this situation. What are your expectations of Mike White against this Vikings defense? They got pass rushers. They got guys who can get after it. I know that they're, You look at them statistically, they're not the best against the pass. I think they're ranked like 32nd against the pass as far as their defense. They're ranked, I think, like 14th against the run or something like that. Now, what are your expectations of him number-wise? Are you expecting 250, 2 touchdowns, or what are you expecting out of him against the Vikings?
I just hope he gets what that defense gives us, because I ain't sleeping on them. They're not no slouch defense either. They're bad in certain things, but they make me nervous. It's not like I don't know. It's not no cakewalk with them, and they got some dudes, man, and they got confidence. So if you got those guys and confidence, they're 9-2. And it's not by mistake. Now, mind you, they got blown out by the Cowboys and by Philly, and I hope we can repeat that. But I ain't sleeping on them. You can't. And I just hope that we can weather those tsunamis. That's really what it is. I hope that, White can weather the tsunamis, take what it gives them, because eventually a big play is going to open up. If you can do that, the defense is going to get frustrated, and it's like, all right, go attack, 20 yards plus. And in college, He's in the College Hall of Fame too. He's got the highest completion percentage all time in college football history, with yards, 20 plus yards completion percentage. So, there's something there, So he's it could be something. I hope for the best.
We'll see what happens now. My final question for you, Rusty, give me your final score prediction. Who do you think wins? Who do you think loses? How do you think this game ends up between the Jets and the Vikings?
I don't know. I mean, I can see it flip-flopping either way if it's tight. I mean, I honestly don't know. And I could see us taking advantage if there's a blowout. Just give me the car crash. It's like Buffalo. It freaks me out, man. I'm not good at these things. I'm too superstitious.
Oh my goodness, Rusty
ducking in traffic. It's rolling.
He ducked the score prediction. Give it to him.
Hey man, I have a little confidence. I think we're gonna win, but I'm not giving those score predictions. So
you're not giving us the score. All right. Well, listen,
no,
Rusty.
I'm like that.
It's
weird.
It's been phenomenal speaking with you.
And I hope we come back to Queens. So.
Oh yeah, you're a guy. You're a guy there. What are your thoughts about that? Before I let you go, really quickly, what are your thoughts about Senator Joe Adebayo? I think his name is talking about possibly trying to get the Jets to Willets Point, Queens. What are your thoughts about that? Really quickly.
Hey, I love it. I hope every Jets fan wants that too, because the last time we went to a Super Bowl, we were representing Queens. So that's what happened. And we're the only New York team in New York State to ever win a Super Bowl. Giants only did it when they moved to Jersey. So we have that. Buffalo is up 0-4.
All right. Well, listen, Rusty, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in. I got to slide off. You have yourself a good one, all right?
Absolutely. Salutes, Joe. Salutes, fellow Savages. Let's go, Jets.
Let's go. Listen, I can't believe Rusty slid off. He slid off and ducked the score prediction. Oh, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Again, when you call in, please be patient. We'll get to everybody. Lines are hot. Next, I'm going to my guy, Venom. Venom, we're coming to you, Chris, Brick, BK, Steve. We'll come to you in a second. Other callers, hold on. We'll get to everybody. Listen, salutes to my guy, Venom. For those of you that don't know, Venom, he's a savage.
Joe.
What's up,
Joe?
Venom. What's up, man? Listen, Venom.
Let's talk.
We talking that talk tonight. Listen, we talking that talk tonight. We got Mike White performing well against the Bears, 22 of 28, 315, 3 TDs. I mean, what are your thoughts about this, man? When you look at this situation, the way that Mike White's playing, how many games do you think that he has before, if he has some bad games, how many bad games do you think he can have before they pull the chain on him and possibly put Zach Wilson back in? This guy's playing phenomenal. I mean, as he continues to play, doesn't the leash get longer?
Yeah, but the better he plays, the leash does get longer. But Joe, I feel so ecstatic for that kid. I'm so proud of that kid, man. Joe, I'm with Rusty, man. How could you go back to Zach, where he hasn't showed the ounce of what Mike White has showed his whole entire career over 20 games? Mike White only showed 2.5 games. So I can't see going back. I'm looking for my eye test, Joe. I know the last call after we had that brutal loss to New England, I told you it's not the offense. It's the person running the offense. We put Mike White in. Look how smooth that looked, bro. That is different. Mike White is different. His processing speed is so quick. Zach he's holding on. But Mike White, he's a good quarterback, and I'm just for all the quarterbacks that work for it. I don't want you to get anything. Don't give me nothing. Let me work for it. Just like Tyler Heineke in Washington, dude be balling. They put every quarterback in front of him, and he still come out and he got that dog in him. Like, yo, you putting this bum in front of me? All right, I'm gonna show you. And this is what the Jets feared. Jets never wanted to put in Mike White because they didn't want to have this controversy. They know Mike White is better than Zach. They were like, oh, let's put in Flacco, because they didn't want to have this kind of fan base hounding them and like, yo, get Zach out of here, because that's what it's going to lead to. When you draft somebody number 2, you can't have their backup smoking them.
You want to hear? I have a conspiracy theory. I have a conspiracy theory. I don't mean to cut you off. I have a conspiracy theory. Remember when they sat Flacco down a couple weeks ago? I think it was around that bad New England game. They sat Flacco down and brought Mike White up and made him the number 2 quarterback. I can't remember exactly when it was, but a couple weeks ago. And everybody was like, why are they doing that? Why is that happening? Why all of a sudden is Joe Flacco, not the number 2 guy, and Mike White was? I think the Jets coaching staff saw what Zach was doing out there. I think that was around the Denver game. And they were like, listen, we've got to get him prepared, because if Zach continues to play like this, with our defense looking like the way that they're looking, and everybody else performing, they watch the tape. I mean, come on, Joe Douglas, one of the best scout guys. They see that guys are open, right? And Zach ain't hitting them. I think that they were starting to prepare. If Zach continues to play like this, we're going to make the move right then. That's why I thought that move was about putting Mike White in position to get him up to speed, so that if Zach continued to play and fell off like we saw, and then again we saw the comments in the locker room as well, or to the media, that it was just going to be a transition. What are your thoughts about that conspiracy theory? Am I crazy?
I think no, you're not, because Joe, if you watch the tape, you see that there's people downfield open, and this dude can't hit them, and he don't see them. So they must have looked at the tape, and it's not Elijah Moore, it's not Garrett Wilson. They looking at the quarterback, and they know he not it. They like, yo, you not him. Stop acting like you Aaron Rodgers, and that's who he modeled himself after. That's why you get all these little. Nah, I ain't let my team down. They let me down. I want them to run routes. That's the Aaron Rodgers cockiness that he got. So he like how Aaron Rodgers call out his wide receivers. Zach think he's that, and you not that. Yeah. You ain't even close to that. I look at this dude, and I'll prefer Sam Darnold over this dude. If we gave Sam Darnold this opportunity, he would look 10 times better than this kid. And I don't know what they see in Zach, but
here Venom G's go.
No.
Here Venom G's go getting it started again with Sam. He's trying to tug at my heartstrings. Don't even get it started. Don't even get that started.
I like, and Joe, you always talk about it. It's serviceable quarterbacks. And if this guy is so weak in his mentals where they sit you, look what they did to Tua in Miami, and dude coming out and he's rocking right now. And Zach can't come with the little, we don't know if we ready. You're not ready. You're not progressing. If somebody's challenging you like that and you fold under the pressure, boy, get out of here, man. We don't need you, especially in New York. And Tua did it. Alex Smith did it when he had Mahomes behind him. Everybody goes through it. Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench 4 years with Brett Favre, or 3 years with Brett Favre, and he came through. You know, so I think Zach maybe needs to sit down and watch how Mike White get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long. If Mike White keeps getting it done, he gonna be sitting down a long time.
Be around.
Right? He gonna have his own seat on the end of that bench, personally made for him. He gonna have his own cushion. Okay. They're going to have to make a Zach Wilson jersey is going to have cushions in the back of him because he ain't going to do nothing but sit on that bench. All right?
Yeah,
he's going to have a
right now,
with a number 2 on it. All right? You got to figure that out, man.
And that's they got to, man. But Mike White is amazing, man. The guys rally around him. I feel like all these guys, I feel like Garrett Wilson and Elijah, I'm so happy to see them rocking and doing what they supposed to do. And you see Elijah, he don't want 200 yards. He got 69 yards and he's acting like he won the Super Bowl, man. They just want the ball to be involved in it.
That's a fact. Now, we got this upcoming game against the Vikings, Venom. Listen, these guys are serious.
It's going to be tough,
man. And I'm looking at this situation right now. Michael Carter dealing with an ankle sprain. They're saying he might not play. It's looking like unlikely. Bam Knight, Ty Johnson were phenomenal. Do you think the New York Jets will be able to effectively run against these Vikings defensive line, man? Do you think we'll be able to run effectively against this Vikings defense?
Man, we ran against Buffalo. We ran last week. We ran around with a lot of tough defenses, man. So I think we could run the ball. We're going to have to do like we did last week, set up the pass and start the run game. We got to work that way because we have so many dynamic players when they're their 4 linemen can get to us, man. Don't forget DJ Hawkinson is out there too. So it's not just JJ that's out there. They also have what's the other guy? The white guy wide receiver that's elite, super
Adam
elite.
Thielen. They got Adam Thielen.
Yeah, Adam Thielen out there.
DJ Hawkinson.
JJ's out.
Dalvin Cook. They got weapons, bro. They're not playing.
This is probably one of our biggest. This is our biggest match right here. And if we get it done, we're gonna look. We're gonna be in that top 10 area, top 5 area if we get it done, man.
Yeah.
So I think
give me your
we're
final
gonna be able to run that ball.
Okay, give me your final score.
It's going to be a low-scoring game because our defense is, it's going to be. No, I'm not dunking it. It's going to be low-scoring. Both of our teams are elite. Nah, we're going to go 24-21, win by kickoff, New York Jets. We take it home.
All right. Yeah. That's for Rusty. I had to hit Rusty again. How dare he duck the score prediction? Not Rusty. Hopefully he come back next week. I want to hear from Rusty. You better not duck that score prediction.
My man, I'm going to hit the leg. Game-winning shot there.
All right.
Joe.
Thank
Great
you for calling
in, man. Have a good week. Hopefully we see you Sunday, bro. You too.
Yeah, well, as of right now, you will. All right, so we'll be definitely trying to do a live game prediction or live game of you and then. So again, salute to Venom. I want to thank him for calling in. We'll keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking live callers. We're talking to everybody. Please be patient. We will get to everybody on the lines next. I'm coming to my guy Chris, Brick, BK, Jake, Steve. I'll come to you guys in a second. Salute to you, Chris. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, man, we're talking Jets, Bears. We got a big win over them. Mike White playing extremely well. What are your thoughts about Mike White, man, and his performance against the Bears? How'd you feel about him going out there handling business?
I thought Mike White did a great job. He recognized the open receivers, and he executed the offense very good. So I applaud Mike White for doing what he's supposed to doing, being a professional NFL quarterback like he is. So I think he did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought he did a great job as well. He got the ball out of his hands quickly, concise, really sharp, and I think he made a lot of great throws. And one of the things that I was really surprised by was the emergence of Elijah Moore within the offense. Shocked. I mean, we haven't seen this guy in a long time actually do something on the field, have some type of real production within the offense. Right. What were your thoughts about Elijah Moore and his play? 2 catches, 64 yards at one catch for 42 yards. That was crazy. He also had a touchdown, too. What are your thoughts about him popping up and having a really solid game against the Bears?
Yeah, I thought Elijah Moore is a great receiver, but I thought he belonged in the slot. So I thought when he come back in the slot, he had a lot more opportunities to get the ball. And Mike White hit him in stride, and he can take off. We have the best offensive playmakers that we've ever had. So as long as we get protection, it should take care of itself. We got some guys that can definitely stretch the field, and we just got to get it to them. You know?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Now, we also had Bam Knight and Ty Johnson have a really solid game for Jets' leading, 1 and 2 leading rushers. What were your thoughts about them, man? I mean, Bam Knight, a guy that really hadn't done, too much as far as this season, really came on and had a big performance. And Ty Johnson was really surprising for me. How are you feeling about them, continuing on? Do you think that these are the two guys that could lead the Jets' backfield in these next coming games?
This is a great situation for the Jets to have these running backs wanting to play. I've been a Bam Knight follower since he was in North Carolina. He was a great running back in North Carolina. And but I think that you're going to see James Robinson. If you didn't see, Rich Cimini interviewed him, and he said he was pissed off about not having the opportunity to play. I think James Robinson is going to be a factor in this game coming up. I think he's going to do a lot of damage in this game.
Yeah, I think he could as well. Again, I think a big thing is having the New York Jets run effectively, especially against the Vikings. And that leads me to my next question with you, man. When you look at the situation coming up against the Vikings, what are your expectations of Mike White? I think a big part of it is us running effectively. I think that's going to help him, but I think we need to protect him properly. But I think the Vikings, they got a pass rush. I know people are looking at the stats, but they got guys that can rush the passer. So Darius Smith, they got Hunter as well who can get after it. And I think that they're going to try to kind of clog up the short intermediate throws and have Mike White try to beat them deep. Do you think he'll be able to do that?
I think you can expect a Mike White of what you see against the Indianapolis Colts. When you saw Mike White played against that team, and I think that Indianapolis had a better team than the Minnesota Vikings, I think Mike White's going to be able to handle it. Again, he's a professional quarterback. I think he knows what the reads. He goes through his reads. I think he's prepared for it. So I think that you're going to see the same Mike White you saw in Indianapolis before the injury, and I think he's going to do very well.
Yeah, I think you will. Now, my final question for you, Sauce Reed versus Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Are you excited about that matchup when we play the Vikings?
Well, these guys, Justin, I guess, they've played in Seattle, and one of our safeties have played in Tampa Bay. So I'm pretty sure they're used to these guys and their schooling Sauce on what this guy does well and what he does. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup on what he has. But DJ Reed and what's our safety name again? I forget the safety. I forget.
LaMarcus Joyner. Whitehead?
No, Whitehead. So they played against the Vikings for years in the NFC. So they haven't changed the receivers. So I'm pretty much sure that they're going to give them some tips because I guess, DJ Reed has played against them. So, I mean, he's going to have a tough time. Against Sauce. I mean, Sauce is one of the best I've ever seen. And, I don't expect, a big day from the best receiver in the league. I think he's going to have some problems with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed.
Yeah, I expect it as well. It's going to be a battle, man. And, again, Sauce was talking, guys that are at the top of the league, he's excited for them. He wants that challenge. Now, give me your final score prediction there, Chris, man. Don't duck it. Don't duck it.
I'm not.
Come on now.
I'm not ducking, but before I give the duck, let me defend Zach Wilson for a minute, okay? I think Zach Wilson.
Go real quick. Go ahead.
Real quick. I think Zach is a good quarterback. He has a lot of talent, but I think that Zach needs to sit down for a minute, learn how it is to be a professional quarterback. I don't think he had a preseason. I think we just threw him in. He was injured. I think Zach will come back next year as a much better quarterback. As far as talent goes, I think he's a better talent than Mike White. He just needs the experience. And like I said, we've seen this before, with backup quarterbacks come in, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Cooper Rush, and we herald these guys as great quarterbacks. But we got to remember that talent is always going to revive it, and he did win it. And the only 2 games he really blew was the games against the best coach in the history of the NFL. So I think this guy's going to bounce back.
Whoa, Chris. He was very bad against Denver, and we won that game in spite of him. Let's not look. I'm a Zach guy, but let's not lie. Okay, Zach was terrible against Denver.
I get it.
He was terrible against Denver. But here's the thing, though. Chris. The issue is that it's not just about him being bad. It's what he's doing out there. There's other guys, again, Elijah Moore being completely invisible in this offense. Garrett Wilson being open, not getting the football. We're seeing the frustrations. He's going out there and losing games against teams, and other guys are paying the toll. I understand he needs experience, and I get that. But guess what? He had a full year. Yes, the preseason was the issue. He went out there and ran, jacked up his knee. We get it. But he came back, right? He goes out there, but he's making the same mistakes. We're seeing the same mistakes that we saw year one. Holding on to the ball, not officially reading defenses, not getting the ball out of your hands quickly, being just absolutely being a gunslinger, throwing interceptions when you don't need to, running outside the pocket when there's no rush, or you running into rush, making bonehead decisions, and then you double down on them in your pressers. That's not going to fly.
Well,
there's no protecting of that. You cannot protect that.
That was a crazy.
I'll give you the last word quickly.
That was a crazy comment. So I think that Mike White should be starter for the rest of the season. But going back to your score prediction,
give me the score prediction.
I give you score prediction real quick. 31-14 Jets. James Robinson has a big game over 100 yards.
Oh, wow. He took the Jets. No ducking the score. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking our callers. Next, I'm going to my guy, BK. Steve, Brick City, Jake, 646. I'll come to you guys in a second. BK, salute to you. For those of you that do not know that boy, BK, he's a... BK, listen, man, we are talking Jets tonight. Mike White looking phenomenal. What are your expectations for him against these Vikings, man?
I expect him to kind of, play the same. Play poised, play collected, play within the system, and play behind a good running game.
Okay. Now, when you look at the Jets running game, Bam Knight, Ty Johnson, are you expecting the same production from them that you saw in the last game? I mean, it's looking like Michael Carter is unlikely to play with that ankle sprain that he has. What are your expectations of them going forward? I mean, Bam Knight was surprising, man.
Yeah, Bam Knight, I've been watching him since college. Bam Knight is the guy they got to feed the ball to. Both him and Ty Johnson. Jay Robinson, definitely no. I mean, he can get some carries, but no. Because their defense is pretty quick, right? So you need running backs to be distinctive and get inside the hole and make plays. So he has the ability to do that. Bam Knight and then Ty Johnson and possibly Jay Robinson. But for sure, we don't start no Jay Robinson. Not at all. So that's that. So
okay, so you're looking for them to go forward with that.
They're going to do it because, I mean, it makes the most sense. I mean, Jay Robinson is not a quick back like that. He's not, So to try to play them in because they're a quick defense. They're strong, rushing the passer, but they're quick on the outside. They are. So they're not going to play Jay Robinson that much. They're not going to do that. He'll play 6 carries, but don't expect no 18. I would be surprised if he had 18 carries. I will be very surprised.
Okay. Now, you were going to give me your score prediction for the game. Go ahead.
Score prediction for the game? So for the game, I'm thinking, they'll win the game, but I think they'll win it more in the second quarter. So I would say you put around like 24 to like 18, something around there, 18 points. Because I believe the defense will make a lot of plays. Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
Okay. Now, BK, I wanted to get to this really quickly. This is my final question for you. Before I let you go, BK, clearly you're from BK. What are your thoughts about, I think his name is Adabu, talking about taking the Jets to Queens, trying to build a stadium for them out there. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would love to see it. You know, the thing about the city, man, it's so damn crowded as it is on the sidebar. But I would love to see them in New York. I really would love. I mean, in the boroughs. You know, I would love to see them in Queens. I'm in Brooklyn. That would be something. I mean, that would definitely be. New Yorkers would probably over time would take the fan base of the Giants. I mean, they'd be the Jets fans. So I hopefully we'll see that, man. You know, I would love to see it.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
Yeah,
Listen,
definitely.
BK, I got to slide off. The lines is hot. I want to thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have a good one. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers next. Oh, we slide off. Jake, if you're still out there, call back in. I think we just lost you. I want to hear from you as well. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Next, I'm going to my guy, Steve. Steve, I'm coming to you. Brick City, Colin. Hopefully Jake calls back in. We'll get to you in 1 second. Salute, Steve. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. Listen, Steve, big game for Mike White. 31-10 Bears, or 31-10 Jets beat the Bears. How are you feeling about this W, man? What are your thoughts about Mike White, and what are your thoughts about him going forward as a Jets starting quarterback? Do you think it happens, man? Do you think he'll be able to continue to put together games like this and possibly be the Jets starting quarterback for the rest of the season?
Hey, Joe. Well, first of all, I just want to say that I know you had technical difficulties last night. I just wanted to let you know. I do you from last night, man. I mean, listen, unfortunately, sometimes those things happen. Listen, it's not your fault or anything. You know, sometimes those things happen. But, you know, going back now to this game that we just had against the Bears, you know, this was definitely a game that we needed so bad. You know, after from that disheartening game in New England the previous week prior, this was a big win for the Jets. And the thing was about this game which was so big was that, you know, when you looked at the way of how Mike White ran this offense, he got the ball out quicker in his hands. He was using every player on the offense, from Uzama to Conklin, Corey Davis, to Denzel Mims, Michael Carter, Garrett Wilson, Braxton Berrios. He was using every player on that offense. Like, that's what Wilson needs to do for the future. Listen, I still believe that you're of this team, no matter what happens going forward. But right now, Joe, in the situation that the Jets are in right now, we're in this situation right now where we got to win games in order to get into the playoffs. Because if we get a chance, if we ever get that chance, Joe, and if we want to get into the playoffs, we need to win now. And the thing is, if Mike White is the best chance for us to win now, then this is what we got to do going forward.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting these things together. It's going to be tough. I said it constantly. It's going to be tough to pull him. I know people want to talk about, you know, the Jets investing the second pick in the first round on Zach Wilson, and I get that. I mean, that's a heavy investment. But we have massive investments elsewhere as well, and we cannot allow him to go out there and just continue to play the way he's been playing. You can't allow that. Not when you have a team that is ahead of schedule, in my mind. I don't think that I don't think the staff themselves thought that this team was going to look like this. I don't think anyone could have predicted that. No one could have said when we took Sauce Gardner, I mean, realistically, taking a rookie corner in the first round as high as we took him, no one would come out and say he's going to be a top 3 corner off the bat. Some people in this league, analysts, guys that watch film, say that Sauce is the best corner in the league. I'm not saying that because I'm a homer and I'm a Jets fan. You know how I feel, all right? That boy, wow. He handled the business. Yeah, I think he's the best. But there's other guys, official guys, you know, guys that constantly are watching this game, think he's the best in the league. Nobody would have said that right off the bat. He's going to be the best corner, and he's going to cover the best receivers, and he's going to win on a weekly basis. There was a lot of questions going into this season. So to watch this team be able to meld and come together and play the way they're playing, even though we have injuries along the offensive line, we've been able to, you know, sustain those and plug and patch with guys, Herbig being out there, all that other stuff is going on. That's boosting our offensive line play to where they're playing just well enough to give you time and let you Garrett Wilson explode in the way that he's been playing. I mean, even without Corey Davis, I don't think anyone thought the Jets were going to be this good this fast. And so to watch us meld like that, and then the thing that's killing us is the guy that we built around. He killed us. He killed us against Denver. We won in spite of him. He killed us against New England. He killed us against New England again. Right? Like there's some issues here. And even in that Bills game, he played just well enough. Right? So it's like that's why I think the
Bills
move
game
was necessary.
He played really good at. The Bills game he played really good at.
He played good enough. He played good enough in that game. He wasn't stellar. And I said that when we won that game. He wasn't stellar. He played just well enough. He had 100 and I think like 54 yards, had a touchdown. I think it was like 18 to 25. He played just well enough. I mean, everything got going. Our defense stuffed them. They got turnovers. We played well. The last drive to get that field goal to take the game away for us, our running game, James Robinson and Michael Carter were phenomenal. Zach Wilson did just good enough in that game, and that was phenomenal. Play within the system. But when you play like that against New England and you play like that against Denver and you play like that against New England again, and then you say things like you said in the presser, I'm sorry, it's going to be tough for you. Go ahead, Steve. I'll let you get the last word on that.
Okay. Listen, Joe, you definitely made some good points. And, listen, while Zach getting benched, though, and I know Zach did say that he does want to learn from his mistakes, and I'm glad that he did finally admit it, from a couple of days after the week against New England before we were getting for the upcoming game against the Bears. I am glad, though, that Saleh gave him, a lesson about, because, listen, Robert Saleh was not messing around. And honestly, you have to give Robert Saleh and this Jets coaching staff credit all year so far of what they have done in order to the team win. Because let me tell you something, this is a coaching staff that we finally have and a front office that we finally have, Joe, that cares about winning. Like, it's not like from in the past when we had Mike McCagnon, Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, all those guys who were terrible in the organization. We finally have a great front office, in my opinion. Now, I think those guys cared about winning. They just didn't know how to do it, how to handle the situation properly. They cared about winning. They just couldn't get it together. But give me your thoughts about this upcoming game against the Vikings really quickly, Steve. What are your thoughts about the matchups with the Vikings and Jets? So now, Joe, we're coming up to a very, very tough road test. We're 7-4 now. We're going up against a 9-2 Minnesota Vikings team. We have to go to Minneapolis, Minnesota on Sunday. You know something, Joe? Let me tell you something about this game. This is definitely going to be a tough task for the Jets. Because let me tell you something. That stadium that the Vikings play in is a very, very tough, hostile environment. I mean, listen, I do agree with what some of the other earlier callers said. The Vikings defense is not as good as a lot of people thought they were. Because, listen, yes, they do have two good edge rushers in Danielle Hunter and Sadarius Smith. Like, those are their two best pass rushers. But they also have two good players in their secondary that you have to watch out for. The safety, Harrison Smith, who's been in this league for many years, who's an outstanding safety. Great player, and of course, veteran cornerback in Mr. Patrick Peterson, who is very good too. But I got to talk to you though. We got to go up against. Now, here is my thing: the quarterback is Kirk Cousins. I'm going to say this about Kirk Cousins. I'm not the biggest fan of Kirk Cousins. Like, is he the best quarterback in the league? No, but Kirk Cousins has a good team around him. He's got one of the best running backs in Dalvin Cook. He's got one of the best wide receivers in Justin Jefferson. Another good receiver in Mr. Adam Thielen. Also, he's also got that tight end that they traded for at the trade deadline in Mr. T.J. Hockenson. Kirk Cousins has a lot of weapons to deal with, and that Jets defense is going to be going up against some tough weapons. Let me tell you something, Joe. I would love to watch throughout the game. I'm going to tell this to Kirk Cousins. I'm going to call Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell him, listen, you can pass the ball to Justin Jefferson if you want to, but let's make sure that sauce is on Jefferson. Joe, I want to see that matchup so bad on Sunday. And I think that's going to be an exciting matchup. And let me tell you, Joe, this is going to be a real tough task for the Jets. If they want to go to the playoffs this year, you want to prove, go to Minnesota and beat the Vikings.
Yeah, give me your score prediction, Steve.
Let me tell you something, Joe. I think this is going to be a close game. You know, when I saw the schedule come out first and how it goes the last couple of weeks, I thought at first about maybe giving this game to the Vikings. However, though, with how good our defense is, Joe, I think we can pull off a victory this Sunday in Minnesota. I'm going to give the Jets a 27-20 win over the Vikings.
Ooh. Oh, man, Steve, we just lost Steve. Steve with the score prediction. Salute to Steve again. Thank him for calling in, dropping knowledge. We're going to keep getting to these lines again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Next, I'm going to Brick City, man. I'm going to Brick City. I'm coming directly to Brick City. Colin, David, we'll get to you in 1 second. Salutes to you, Brick City. We're coming directly to
Joe,
you.
I want all the smoke, man.
Oh, man.
I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke.
Listen, man. Jets beat the Bears 31-10. Mike White looking phenomenal. What has to happen in your mind, if you're the New York Jets head coach, what has to happen for Zach Wilson to see the field again? How many bad games in a row does Mike White have to have at this point for Zach Wilson to touch the field again if you're the New York Jets head coach?
Well, I mean, it has to take a disaster, either an injury or a disastrous game like in Buffalo last year for Zach Wilson, for Zach to come back. I do predict Zach will finish out the season as our quarterback this year. I do believe that.
Oh, wow!
I predict Zach coming back for the Lions game. To be honest with
you. Okay. And so you think at some point. So when you say him coming back for the Lions game, are you thinking that Mike White is not going to continue this type of success with the offense?
I'm not saying that. Mike White, you know, he's a floor general. He's a field general. He reminds me a little bit of Chad. You know, he doesn't have the great arm, but he has the QB mind state. He got a big heart. He knows how to operate the offense. He knows how to hit the dink and dunk passes. He knows how to hit all the receivers. I was ecstatic for Elijah Moore. Finally, he'd been open all season. Finally, getting the big games here that he got last week and scoring a touchdown, so that could quiet him down for a little bit. I'm looking at the game different. I got a spank in Minnesota. Like, I'm not afraid of Minnesota at all. I'm not afraid of Kirk Cousins at all. The way our defense is playing, if they play like they did in the second half last week, but they got to start off. They got to start the ground off running though, because if they come off with a little jet lag, we may be a little trouble.
Yeah, hold on a second, Brick City. But I want to go back to what you were saying. If you think that we'll see Zach Wilson back against the Lions, I heard a lot of what you said about Mike White. And again, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? Because everybody's always saying, Joe, you're the Zach guy. Okay, I get it. I do like Zach. We took him, and he's here. But everything that you just said about Mike White, from he's the general, he looks like Chad Pennington to you. Mind you, Chad Pennington at the time, before he got injured, we gave him a big contract. He was going to be our future franchise quarterback. That's what we signed. We gave him a big contract to be here for years, right? He doesn't have the biggest arm, but he dinks and dunks. He's able to find wide receivers that are open. He makes the throws when they're there. I mean, he did hit a deep throw, Garrett Wilson, 54-yard touchdown. He knows the offense through and through, gets the ball out of his hands quickly. To me, that sounds like a quarterback that you want to be your starter. I mean, am I correct? Isn't that all the attributes that you just laid out? Isn't that what you would call a starting quarterback in this league? Isn't that the guy that you would want at the helm of your offense?
Yes and no. And I know a lot of Jet fans going to be mad at me. I know you might be a little hot with what I'm about to say real quick, but it makes sense.
I'm just asking the question. Go ahead. Okay.
Let's go back with Chad Pennington. When Chad was our quarterback, the game was a little bit different. You didn't need to throw, 50-yard bombs, and it wasn't really too much high scoring. The defense really back then 20 years ago was really, still the big thing in the NFL. Now it's all about scoring. Now it's all about putting up points. And you have to throw that long ball sometimes to get, to a Garrett Wilson or an Elijah Moore or, heck, even Corey Davis if he's healthy, But
that's not
Mike White is still unproven. We invested a high pick in Zach Wilson, who needs to get out of his own way. I think it's mental with Zach. I don't think it's talent based. I think it's mentally he needs to get it together.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I'm going to go back to what you were just saying, and I'll address that next point, Brick. I want to go back and forth with you. I love talking to you about this team. We absolutely have it out, hashing out back and forth. But that's not true. In this league, you don't have to be the Saints. You don't have to be the greatest show on turf. You don't have to launch the ball for 1,000,000 yards to be successful. The Niners don't do that. The Niners don't throw the ball around with Jimmy Garoppolo, Lance, or whoever the hell is their quarterback at this point. They don't do that, and they're successful. They run the football effectively. The Titans don't do that. They don't ask Ryan Tannehill to go out there and throw for 400 yards every game, and he don't do that. They give the ball to Derrick Henry. They play unbelievably suffocating defense, and they win. And they've been in the playoffs and been in the hunt for years. Right? There's other teams around this league.
Right.
Seattle was doing that. Seattle, there was a run base. They were running hard, and they were a team that was – yes, they had Russell Wilson when they were winning, but that defense was the thing that was just destroying people. The last time we were in the AFC – the last time we saw success here and we're in the playoffs, we weren't throwing the ball for 1,000 yards. We were running.
No.
We had an offensive line that was pushing people around. We were bullying people, running the ball. We didn't ask Mark Sanchez to do much. When he did, we just asked him to throw, and he made the throws. The defense was playing suffocating. There's different ways to win in this league. You don't have to launch the ball around for 1,000,000 yards. I just gave a bunch of examples. You don't have to launch the ball around for 1,000,000 yards, but you need your quarterback to be efficient. I'll tell you one way that you won't win in this league: turning the ball over consistently, throwing 3 interceptions.
Oh, of course.
Right? So if that's what we're seeing, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? Everybody's always saying I'm the Zach guy, but if Mike White is doing what it takes to put you in a position to win, and he's not doing anything stupid or risky, why can't he be your quarterback?
Well, I'm not saying he's not. What I'm saying, Long Beach Joe, right? What I'm saying is running game is good, defense is playing at a high level, everything is clicking on all cylinders, right? But if the defense is coming down, stacking the boxes, like, okay, we know this guy can't go over us. We want to make him beat us with his arm. In certain cases, like I cannot see Mike White doing that to a New England defense, and I hate New England with a passion. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, don't crash out. don't crash out.
What I'm saying is, I'm just using that as an example. I don't see him doing that. I don't see him doing that to New England. I don't see Mike White doing that to smothering man coverage defense. More zone-based defenses, I can see him picking people apart left and right, no problem. Mm-hmm. I like Mike White. Don't get me wrong. I like Mike White. I hope I don't care who's the quarterback of our future. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to win multiple Super Bowls. Okay. We have a window, a short window. You know how it is in this league. Look at San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? You just mentioned San Francisco, one of the teams. Jimmy Garoppolo probably could have had a ring right about now if he wasn't injury prone. He don't got the best arm in the world. They got Trey Lance. Look what happened to him. So it's good to have 2 good quarterbacks, but for our fan base, the real Jet fan base, we've been hurting for a Super Bowl for so long, and we definitely deserve it. Definitely deserve it. Definitely deserve it. We're tired of the butt of the jokes. Because I don't see Cleveland getting jokes like that. I'm talking about as a franchise. I don't see Cleveland getting the jokes like that. I don't see the Chargers, Cardinals, Jacksonville. Overall, the Jets are better than those franchises. But just because we're second fiddle to the Giants and second fiddle kind of to the Buffalo Bills in a certain type of way, we don't get that respect. And we've been pounding on dudes. We've been beating dudes. Went to Lambeau. Smacked Aaron Rodgers. We smacked up on Buffalo. We're not getting our respect. So okay, we're not getting our respect. We're gonna make you respect us, and we're gonna smash Minnesota. I'm not afraid of them.
Well, give me your thoughts on, before I let you go, my final question for you. Give me your thoughts really quickly on the matchup, Sauce Reed versus Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and then give me your score prediction really quickly.
I'm gonna say this right now. Justin Jefferson is not passing 50 yards on Sauce. If Sauce has got to clean it up a little bit. Sauce has got to clean it up a little bit from last week. You know, with that one play, even though I felt like, oh boy, that got traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Claypool, you know, really wasn't in bounds on that play. But you know, Sauce is a rookie still. He got to just turn his head around a little bit. You know, and I don't think, you know, they would have threw that PI right there. But if Sauce would clean it up a little bit, we'll be fine. I'm not worried about Thielen. He's a good receiver. Don't get me wrong. They're very talented, but I think the way our defense is run right now, we're more talented than the Rex Ryan defense right now. Imagine Rex Ryan with our defense right now. We would have like 3 Super Bowls right now.
Wow.
3.
Okay.
We would have 3 Super Bowls right now.
Give me your final score prediction. Give me your final score
prediction.
I'm
saying this right now. 38-21 Jets. We smoking them in Minnesota. We smoking on the Cousins pack. And I predict one more thing. Mike White will hit the gritty, baby. Mike White is going to hit the gritty in Minnesota.
All right. Salutes, BK. I want to thank you, Brick City, excuse me. Thank you for calling in. Next time I have a show, I want to hear
Always is a pleasure, brother. Always is a pleasure, man. Keep doing the good work. You know, happy holidays as well. You know, I'm going to hit you probably on the gram or something probably this week. And
Absolutely.
You know. But, yo, stay up, man. Love the show. People don't curse on the show, man. You're going to get up out of here. And don't be scared to put up your predictions. And real Jet fans know if you want the smoke, you get the smoke.
All right, salutes, Brick. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We're taking all callers. Please give the stream a thumbs up if you haven't already. Also share the stream with your friends and family. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Please give to the stream if you'd like to. The Super Chat's there. The Cash App is at the bottom of the show there in the runner. So please give if you can. Anything you can give is greatly appreciated. And again, happy holidays to everybody as well. If I have not said that, so rude, you know. Excuse me. Next, we're going to David. Colin will come to you next. Other callers will get to you as well. David, salutes. I want to thank you for calling in today. Listen, David, Mike White, 22 of 28, 315 against the Bears, 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts on him, man, and his production? I mean, what are your thoughts about the way that he looked against the Bears, man?
Well, Joe, thanks for taking my call. Just hit the thumbs up for you.
Thank you.
Well, here it is. I mean, he stabilized us. Like when I checked him last week, he represents stabilization. And your last call is very, very charming, very interesting. And I liked his word smoke because that's kind of my point I wanted to bring up. When you clear the smoke out, when you blow away the fog, and you just sit and look at the whole body of work of Zach, there's nothing there that the Jets need to risk their season this year just so they can try to speed up his development. The Jets shouldn't have to sabotage themselves, and I don't understand why the fans just can't accept that. What Mike is going to bring is stabilization. It's not a guaranteed win. He's an average quarterback. He's a backup for a reason. But Zach has shown us nothing that we can have realistic hope. When you blow away the smoke and the hope, because there's something about him I don't understand. I guess he was highly liked at BYU, and he gets some good publicity early in his career. He's liked by Steve Young, you know, and a great old quarterback, a BYU guy. But here's the thing: he didn't earn that. We shouldn't have to sabotage ourselves just so his career can be advanced. In professional football, you have to earn your stripes. He did not earn that. To sit that young man for the rest of the season is reasonable and for his good. And Mike White can bring the stabilization, and if Mike kind of drops the ball and can't get it done, you have Joe Flacco to go to. Zach will be better off if he sits the bench. I mean, your eyes, again, blow away the fog. Get rid of your hopes. Get rid of how you want it to go and just look at the body of work, Joe. and listeners, look at the body of work. Be realistic. Like I like the way you defended the old regimes. They all wanted to win. These are all professionals. They're all highly trained athletes and smart coaches, and they're battling each other each week. What our coach did, he and his GM stabilized our franchise. That's why the Jets have been unsuccessful. Those other coaches were good, but they couldn't, like you said in the last call or two, they couldn't put it together. And it's not because they're anything less. It's just the pieces didn't come together. Now we're finally seeing pieces coming together. And chemistry is a big thing with professional sports, listeners. Big thing, Joe. So why goof it? Why obsess? And it doesn't mean you don't like Zach if he sits. It just means you're looking at the fog clearing, and you saw it last week. We saw what a real quarterback play is. And I don't think the Jets have been comfortable with that since maybe early Mark Sanchez and 1 year with Fitzpatrick. I think 2015 he was stable, good backup. We don't know what it is, Joe. And I'm not saying that Mike White is the answer, guys. But what I am saying, if it's working and the pieces are fitting and the players are flowing and you're starting to get a wins, you're starting to get momentum. You're seeing what your receivers can finally do. You're seeing things open up. He can throw the ball 30, 40 yards on a zip. Maybe he can't throw it 60, but if you put that 30, 40-yarder fear in them, they can't come up and just box you in because Mike White can see the field. So if they do that, he's just going to hit. He's going to kill them with slants. They'll kill you with those slants. Those receivers can run. So if they come up too close, they're cutting across all over the place. You're hitting them with quick slants. They could run 50 yards with a quick slant. Ex-Jerry Rice, ex-the 49ers. Roger Craig, remember them back in the day? They knew how to do that. I mean, I'm ranting, Joe. Help me out here. Am I making any sense?
No. I mean, I will let you go. You're bringing up a great point, and again, like you said as well, we've seen Mike White beat Cincinnati. We were supposed to get smoked in that game, last season, right? Nobody picked us to win. We beat them. Michael Carter was the guy. He was hitting him on checkdowns, wide open space. Michael Carter was taking it for a ton of yards. I think he had a bunch of catches and some touchdowns. He was the reason why we won the game. Mike White was finding them constantly in that game, and he went off. So, listen, you're bringing up some absolute facts. Now, I want to talk to you about this upcoming game against the Vikings, man, because let me tell you something. This is a tough team. I know people will talk about, the defense, and they think we're going to roll them. They're 9-2 at this point, though, and they're looking solid. What are your expectations of Mike White against this football team? Because they got they have guys with solid defense. Do you think he'll be able to put a back-to-back solid performance together and play well against them? I'll give you the last word.
Well, this is what I think about that, Joe. I think it's a very good question, and I think you presented it very fair. I mean, our neighbor, the Giants, old Bill Parcells, said, "You are what your record says you are." So they're 9-2 for a reason. You never want to underestimate your opponent. So the Jets will come in there, and I think it's going to be, okay, whatever part of the game works best, because they're going to kind of equalize each other out. I think their offense is a little better, and our defense is a little better. So whoever performs and does their job and does it right and executes, and you limit, like last week, let's see, how many interceptions did Mr. White have? He didn't have any. So you can't have the turnovers, and you can't have those goofy penalties. A few weeks ago I called you and said, no bad penalties on our D, and they came through and won that game. So, you eliminate the penalties, eliminate the turnovers. Just do the simple things. Let your defense make a couple big plays, make it difficult on them. I think they'll be okay. Because here's the thing I wanted to accentuate tonight, Joe, when I called. I wanted to say we can't be an unstable organization. If Michael White doesn't do that well, but he does, you got to ride him out. You can't say, we got to go back to Zach. That's same old Jets. We got to trust our coaches that they can see, that they can plan, and they can create stability for these players. And say, we're going to ride Michael, and we got Joe as a backup. Zach's still learning. When we're comfortable with his footwork, when we're comfortable with his decision-making, we'll reconsider. Until then, they can't be knee-jerk. We can't be a knee-jerk team. Those teams go nowhere. So we got to ride Michael unless he comes out and just lays a gigantic egg, like a huge turtledactyl egg. I'm talking Fred Flintstone dinosaur egg. If he lays one of those, okay, maybe we put Flacco in. We got to let our young quarterback develop. So, Joe, I think to answer your question, I think it's going to be an even match game. And I think whoever makes the least mistakes and a couple big plays here and there, possibly a turnover, that's going to be it. And if we win this thing, Joe, it's going to be 3 to 7 points. We ain't blowing them out. We got to be realistic here.
Give me your final score prediction quickly, David.
Okay, here it is, Joe. I think we win. I think we're going to win it high, though. I think it's going high. I think we're talking 33 Jets, 29 Minnesota.
Ooh, okay. David, phenomenal call from you. You have yourself a good night, all right?
You too. Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thank you. Listen, we're going to keep getting to these lines. 515-602-9639. That's quite a call from David. I respect the takes. You know, I go back and forth again. I'm known. I'm a Zach supporter. Okay. I know there's not a lot of us left. But, you know, I see everybody's side, but I'm a realist, as everybody knows. All right. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Colin, we're coming directly to you. All right. Colin salutes. I want to thank you for calling in. It's always great to speak with you, my friend. Mike White, having success, man. Big game against the Bears, 315 yards, 3 touchdowns. What are your thoughts about what he does out on the field to make things like this happen? What do you see out of him that you didn't see from Zach Wilson?
So good evening, Joe. And some nice savages out there. You know, the thing with Mike White is, one, he's a taller quarterback, and I think he sees the field a little better than Zach. With Zach, you know, it's like he looks for one guy, and then next, you know, he's just running. And I think with Mike White, he's more mature, he's more poised in the pocket, right? And I think, you know, overall, he gives us a better chance of winning right now. You know, we keep saying, you know, we want to see Zach come back in. But Zach, in reality, Zach hasn't really shown. I said it before. I haven't seen anything from Zach in the 20 games or whatever he's played where I was impressed, like, for an entire game that he played. Yeah, you might be impressed for one play or two play, but I don't think there was one game that was played where I was like, wow, like Mike White did last week and Mike White did last year when we played the Bengals. You know, those were like, wow, this guy could be good, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, I think you know, I think the team right now is in a better place with Mike White quarterbacking than Zach quarterback, and I think he gives us the best chance right now of getting into the playoffs right now.
So when you look at this situation, and I hear you, Colin, and you bringing some takes right now, but when you look at the situation, if you're the New York Jets head coach, because Mike White he's played very solidly against the Bears, what will it take for you to go back to Zach Wilson? Because Sulla is not committed fully to Mike White. He has not said, to my knowledge, he has not come out and publicly said Mike White will be the starter for the rest of the season. He has not done that. He's in fact come out and said it's going to be day-to-day. But if you were Sulla, what would it take for you to sit Mike White down and start Zach Wilson? Or in your mind, do you already have a set game where it doesn't matter what Mike White does, you're going to put Zach Wilson out on the field anyway? I mean, how would you handle it?
No, you can't have a set game in mind. That would be absolutely wrong to just say, you know, this is the game he's going to come in. What if Mike White is just winning every game? You're not going to bench him because here comes Detroit, and now we think Zach can win even though Mike White's been winning, right? So you can't really have a set game to say, this is when I'm going to bring him back in. To be honest with you, against the Bears, I actually thought that Zach would start, and if he struggled, they would pull him out. But the fact that he was
that's what I thought too.
And he was he was benched. He was not even benched. He was inactive.
No, he was inactive. He was inactive. I thought that before they announced that they were going to make him inactive, I thought that they would go into that game, like you said as well, and allow Zach to play. And if he was bad, then they were going to move on from him. But Sulla pulled it early. They said, listen, at the press conference, he said, I'm going with Mike White. They made him inactive, and that was that. Go ahead. Keep going. That's right, Colin.
They made him inactive. I mean, 90% of the people probably thought Zach would start and then get benched during the game if he was doing really bad. But the fact that he was inactive for that game, and now Sal is just saying we're going to take it day to day, week to week, whatever. They don't have any intention of bringing him back in this season, in my opinion. And the only reason
you
why,
think so?
In my opinion, I think so. I think the only how we will see Zach play this season is if the Jets don't make the playoffs, and Mike White is also struggling. I think then you may see Zach for a couple of games because they're going to have to make a decision at the end of the season if Zach is going to be on this team still or not, or if we need to draft another quarterback or trade for a quarterback or something else. So,
but that's the point of why I think that, and I don't mean to cut you off, Colin, but that's the reason why I think I don't think it's that Mike White is going to start unless Mike White is just playing phenomenally, like we saw against the Bears, and he's rolling, and the team's winning, and they're not losing games because of him, right? Then I think it's going to be tough to sit him down. But I think if Mike White has one or maybe two bad games, it depends. If he has a bad game against the Vikings, I could see them utilizing that as an opportunity to then put Zach back out there. But if he keeps rolling and somehow falls into a slump, it depends on how good he looks. But if he has one to maybe two bad games where things aren't looking good, I think they'll go back to Zach, not only because, they want to see what this young kid got out there. Again, he's a big investment. And this is the guy that Joe Douglas said, hey, this is going to be the guy to lead my franchise. There's reasons why he was picked number 2 overall. And again, like you said as well, and that's part of my point too, they want to see what the future holds with this guy. If he sucks when they put him back in, that, to me, is going to be pretty much almost a death sentence for him here, because that absolutely will turn up the heat on him for next season, and that will open the door for them to bring in competition, like people are already talking about, from Derek Carr to all these other veteran guys that could be out there that can just come in here and be a stabilizing force. So that's what I think can happen.
My thing is,
if Mike White plays well, 1 or 2 games, but I think they want to see Zach Wilson back out on that field, because if they didn't, Sulla would have closed the door. I'll give you the final word. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, but I feel like we've seen enough of Zach Wilson. Like I don't see how he can sit out 2 games and then come back in 3 games from now, and all of a sudden he's a completely different quarterback. I do not think that will happen overnight. Success is not going to happen overnight for him like that. So I don't think he would come back in and all of a sudden he's a completely different quarterback. I think you're going to the same mistakes being done if and when he comes back in. But if Mike White, so as far as the Vikings game, I think the Mike White we saw against the Bears is the Mike White we're going to see against the Vikings and the Bills.
Oh boy!
I don't think you're going to see a guy. Okay. You're going to see a guy comes out all of a sudden, and he's a bum, or that's why he's a backup. I think the guy is smart. He's intelligent. I think he learned from last year against Buffalo, the way he lost that game, and I don't think you're going to see him repeating those mistakes that he made. This game is going to be close for sure. This is not going to be a blowout.
Give me your score for
this. This defense is going to have to really step it up. But I can see, if Mike White plays the way he played last week, that the Jets going to eat up the clock, run the ball a lot, and come away with a 33-31 victory, Jets.
Ooh, 33-30. Okay. Now, Colin, before I let you go, give me your thoughts on, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this, but there's a lot of talk, a senator's trying to possibly, convince, people up there in New York to build a stadium for the Jets in Willits Point, excuse me. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
So Willits Point is right next to Citi Field, where the Mets play. So there's always been. So I live in Long Island, Joe. I'm a New York guy. I lived in Queens, everywhere.
Tell me.
So
tell me.
So the Jets fans are the biggest Jets fans are based in Long Island, believe it or not. That's where the Jets fans really comes from. So if they're going to bring the team to Willits Point, you're definitely going to fill the stadiums for sure. They were actually going to do that when we were trying to get the I believe it was the Olympics, and we were going to build a stadium on the West Side Highway, and we didn't win that bid for the Olympics. So there has been a conversation about bringing the Jets back to New York. I mean, if they bring the team to New York, it's probably a 20 minutes drive for me to go to the games instead of 3 hours trying to get back home from a game. I would, hands up in the air, both hands in the air for them bringing it here. So I have nothing against that. And I'm sure anyone in Long Island will not have anything against that. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I know a lot of. I know, of course, I know people from the East Coast. I know people from the area, but you're a New York guy clearly, so you know that space, that spot more intimately, especially again for you being from Long Island. But I hear it all the time. That fan base in Queens, like Queens is Jets. All right, if you're from Queens, you're pretty much a Jets fan. I know people from there. They like, listen, Joe, that's how we get down over here. When I go to MetLife, I'll be around a lot of dudes from Queens. I'll be around a lot of dudes from Brooklyn.
Around
a lot of dudes from Jersey,
Long Island.
Salute all my dudes from Newark and Long Islanders too. They be around there. And but let me tell you something. This talk, and again, it's just swirling around right now. The senator, just kind of came out and started talking about it. But I really wanted to get people's thoughts on that situation. So yeah, thank you so much, Colin, for giving us some insight on that. Listen, phenomenal to speak to you tonight. You have yourself a good night, my friend.
Take care, Joe.
All right, you have a good one. Listen, we're gonna keep getting to these lines, man. These lines were hot, bruh. These lines were hot. All right, phenomenal show. We're gonna start to close it out, man. Whew, time's getting a little short here. All right, listen, I'm gonna give you guys quickly my take on this upcoming game against the Vikings right now. Just looking at this situation, I look at it, man. It's gonna be intriguing. Let me tell you something. Of course, clearly, number one, Mike White, I want to see what he's going to look like against these Vikings. Again, this defense, does struggle against the pass. I think they're ranked like 31st against the pass right now. So I think that there's some things that we could take advantage of. Again, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. I want to see what's going on with Corey Davis. Corey Davis, I think, only had one catch in the last game. Hopefully he gets more involved in the offense this week. Or maybe it's something. Maybe Corey Davis is the guy that the Vikings defense will key in on, and then that'll open up things for Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson as well, so we'll see how that plays. My thing is I want to see how the New York Jets run the football. Bam Knight, Ty Johnson, great week last week against the Bears. Michael Carter dealing with this ankle injury. We'll see what happens with him going forward, but a lot of people are saying it's unlikely for him to play. So those guys might be picking it up again. We'll see what happens with James Robinson and if he's if he's made active and given a role in the offense as well. So, but as of right now, Bam and Ty are looking good. They're running the football well. We'll see if they'll be able to continue that. Jets defense matchup, Sauce Reed versus Thielen and Justin Jefferson. That's going to be dope to watch. I'm also a little bit worried about T.J. Hockenson. I know a lot of people, when they talk about the Vikings, they don't talk about him. I'm very concerned about him. It's a tight end that is absolutely a weapon out there, and the New York Jets have a history of struggling against tight ends, all right? So you got to worry about that as well. I also want to see how the Jets' offensive line properly protects Mike White, all right? Mike White ain't no runner. He ain't Lamar Jackson, okay? You got to worry about that situation. They got some guys that can get after it. So with all that said, man, I'm going to take the Jets right now. I'm feeling it. I'm going to take the Jets. I'm taking the Jets in a close one. I'm taking the Jets 27-24 Jets. All right, so So now we're going to get out of here quickly. Listen, salutes to everybody for calling in. It's a phenomenal show. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I am here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. Your boy is also on Twitter as well. Go on over to Twitter. At YoungJ000. Again, at YoungJ000. It's a personal page. At Long Beach Joe. All right, on Twitter. Follow me. I'll follow you back. You want to troll me? No issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, and I will have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. At all times. Okay? He's going to be fine. He's going to come back next year and dominate people like he's done since he's gotten in the league, all right? That's what's going to happen. I don't know if y'all know that, but if you're from SC, that's just what you do. You show up, you dominate, and you do your business. Fight on, all right? So come on over, and I'll troll you. We'll go back and forth. We'll be under there, all right? I'm also on YouTube as well. Come on over to YouTube, okay? Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube, all right? Hit that subscription button. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. All right? And if you were to troll me, get in those comments, we can go back and forth on there as well. Okay? And as always, when you see me, people, okay, and you will see me, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. Free hugs for everyone. Hugs will cost you absolutely nothing, okay? They will always remain free no matter what anyone says. Okay? I want to thank you folks for listening. I want to thank you folks for watching. Without you people, I'm absolutely nothing. Thank you for taking the times out of your day to call in and listen to the show. All right? Oh, also, we're ending the poll as well. You know what I'm saying? At this point, 90% of the savages here, 90% think that the Jets will beat the Vikings. So, savages say Jets get this win. So, salute to everybody. Again, happy holidays to everybody as well. Enjoy yourselves. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you folks later. You folks have a good one. Peace.